I understand, Buttercup. Investing in silver can be very, very frustrating. Investing in gold can be very frustrating. But what if I told you we could have a situation come up that nobody's talking about, something that's happened in the past, actually two times, that could be massive good news for the silver price, something nobody's talking about? Remember Warren Buffett? You ever heard of Warren Buffett? Well, he did something very interesting with silver in 1997. And could we see a new Warren Buffett emerge on the scene that could have unbelievable results for the demand in the silver market? What about the Hunt brothers? Remember that story? We'll talk about that as well. But the big thing that we want to examine here is, are we in a situation where a new Warren Buffett could emerge, where a new Hunt brothers could emerge? And guys, there's even more to go along with it, because things really are different this time in the world. And there's a couple other factors that we can look at that could point us toward the fact that we could have this new Warren Buffett, we could have this new Hunt brothers show up, but it might just come from the most unlikely of places. Maybe, quite possibly, even more likely now. But let's start out by talking about what Warren Buffett did and compare where we are now. Why did Warren Buffett decide to buy massive amounts of silver back in 1997? And are situations in place now that would make a major billionaire investor like Warren Buffett very attracted to the silver trade? But before we do that, I almost forgot the most important part. You. Yes, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Ron's Basement. You are the most important part. This does not exist without you being here. So it's a big deal you're here. Thank you. Please, if you want to do something nice, give this a thumbs up. We're trying to get some more subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Let's go check and see what Warren Buffett did back in 1997. And let's compare what's going on now to see if it would be an even more attractive trade. Okay, here we go, guys. We're moving around the internet together. Good morning, by the way. I hope you're doing good this morning. I want to tell all the regular viewers we have some family events to attend to over the next few days, so the live stream schedule may be a bit disrupted, but I will be putting out videos, and I will do my best to hop on for some short live streams nonetheless. Okay, here we go. Warren Buffett. This is fascinating, guys. Why did Warren Buffett make a massive, I mean massive, silver purchase back in 1997? And let me see if I can get this to work. Here we go. Okay. I'll just read the mostly the highlighted yellow parts. This came, by the way, from ChatGPT, from artificial intelligence. I asked ChatGPT, why did Warren Buffett buy such a massive amount of silver back in 1997? Warren Buffett, through Berkshire Hathaway, bought a large amount of silver. By the end of 1997, Berkshire Hathaway had accumulated almost 130 million ounces of silver, which was about 37% of the world's known supply at the time. 130 million ounces. That's huge, right? Massive. That's also, I think, just about what the country of India imported during the first quarter of this year, but I digress. Timing. Buffett's entry into the silver market was strategic. He started buying silver when its price was low. Okay, he likes to buy when the price is low. Most people agree. Right now, the price of silver is low. Okay, reasoning. Buffett saw silver as undervalued. How many people have we heard? Smart, the smartest people in the room, besides you, besides me, say that silver is the most undervalued asset in the world. He believed the supply-demand fundamentals of silver were favorable. Market impact. Buffett's massive purchase of silver did not go unnoticed. It had a noticeable impact on the silver market, causing big price rises. Okay. Outcome, his purchase helped validate silver as an investment asset, influencing market perceptions. I think what we need to take away here, guys, is Warren Buffett, right? The notorious Warren Buffett made a massive purchase of silver because he noticed the market was out of balance. He looked at the supply-demand dynamics. We need to think about, as we look at it now, are those same situations in place, right? On a side note, at the bottom in caps there, I wrote the equivalent investment by Berkshire Hathaway, that's Warren Buffett's company, today, from a percentage of total assets perspective, would represent almost $17 billion worth of silver. So that's like the equivalent that he put in back then. It was a massive amount of money. Berkshire Hathaway was smaller at the time. But what we want to think about here, guys, is can we now, let's think about where we are right now in this market. Think about it. Could we have another Warren Buffett show up, right? And it wasn't just Warren Buffett that did this. I want to touch briefly on the Hunt brothers because they also made big moves into, there's some pictures of the Hunt brothers, but they did back in the 70s, right? So Warren Buffett did this about 25 years ago, and I think it was about, 15, 25 years earlier that the Hunt brothers did the same thing. They bought up massive amounts of silver. But I want to tell you something. I want you to think about something with the Hunt brothers. When I say the word the Hunt brothers, it just shows us how the mainstream media, the mainstream whatever, power structures have demonized silver. Because when you say Hunt brothers, even me, right? I naturally think, I almost think like criminal, pirates and bad guys. They try to put silver and gold in such a negative light, right? I was reading something last night. Excuse me. I don't know if you've noticed this, but somebody brought up a great point about gold. It was like, how come every time there's a $1 million gold theft of some sort, it's like front page news and they want everybody to see, look, gold is dirty. Oh, look, Senator Menendez took bribes in gold. $1 million worth of gold was stolen, right? When every day there's massive, I hate to say it, they kind of do the same thing to Tesla. Every time there's a problem with the Tesla car, they like focus in on it, but they do the same thing. I'm getting off track here. Sorry, basement dwellers. With gold and silver, they demonize it, and they kind of demonize these Hunt brothers, right? The Hunt brothers weren't doing anything really wrong. They were just trying to make a smart investment. They saw the fundamental facts under silver. So the big question here is, can we have another Hunt brothers emerge? Can we have another Warren Buffett emerge? Wouldn't you think that, and we never talk about that, but look, Wall Street, these big hedge funds, these big investors, they're only going to ignore silver for so much longer. Eventually, somebody's going to sniff it out. These guys are vicious and greedy. And when they see that there's an opportunity in silver, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to dive in. We could have another Hunt brothers. We could have another 1997 version of Warren Buffett. Maybe Warren Buffett wants to come back now. What do you guys say? Maybe we need to write a little letter to Berkshire Hathaway and say, hey, Warren, wake up. Remember silver, right? But by the way, let's go check, because I have an idea where Warren might be able to get some silver. Let's check, get an update on the silver and gold price this morning. Here we are at Pimbex, P-I-M-B-E-X, Pimbex.com, and we're going to press the magic button. Okay, gold's up about $4, $2,387 per ounce. Silver, $27.86. Silver fighting to stay above 28. Now, if Warren Buffett, all right, Warren, we know you're here with us. We know you're a basement dweller. Okay. Look, Warren, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you do decide to buy silver or gold, you might want to check out this company called Pimbex, P-I-M-B-E-X. Myself, I've used them to buy silver and gold. Also, a lot of the fellow basement dwellers have used them to buy silver and gold. We always find the same thing. You get great selection, great service, a company you can trust. But, Warren, you want to make sure, and all of us basement dwellers, okay, I'm just joking around about Warren. You guys know that. But all of us, when we convert our unicorn fart dust paper, fiat, funny money, paper into real metal, we want to get the most metal for our money. And I've always found that I can do that with Pimbex, and rest assured that it's a company that I can trust. I won't tell you what to do. I'll just tell you, next time you're considering maybe converting an IRA, maybe converting some of your paper money into real gold or silver, do yourself a favor and check out Pimbex. I know you'll be happy. So think about it, guys. Think about how delicate and tender. Are you delicate? Are you a buttercup? I am. I'm Mr. Silver. I'm a sensitive guy. I've said that many times. But the silver market is very sensitive. We know, right? What does it tell us when we know that there's a massive deficit going on right now, right? The silver market is small, very small, boys and girls. It is. We know that. So what would happen if another major investor came in, a big name investor? It's probably not going to be Warren Buffett. It's probably not going to be the Hunt brothers, but it could be somebody else. It could be Ray Dalio. It could be Jeffrey Gundlach. Who knows? It could be it could probably be some billionaire whose name we've never really heard of, but it could catapult. Literally could. I'm not making any predictions. But I will make this prediction. If we have a major billionaire investor, but there's two other things we need to consider when we think about this, because we only think about the United States, right? And big money is not going to ignore this for so longer. Does it have to be an American? What about a Chinese Warren Buffett? What about a Chinese Hunt brothers, the Ching Chong brothers or something? I don't know, the whatever. I'm not really good with Chinese names. The Gong brothers, right? What about a couple Indian brothers, Siddhartha and Buddha brothers come in, right? That could be the next. Remember, there's billionaires now in China. There's billionaires now in India. We only think about the United States. We think, oh, some big rich American could come in and really corner the silver market. Here's the other question. Are the Chinese and Indians already doing that right now? Are we in the beginning stages of a Hunt Brothers or a Warren Buffett type situation in the silver market, right? We know that the Chinese love gold. We read yesterday they're the world's biggest producer and consumer of gold. We know that the 1.4 billion Indian people have 25,000 metric tons of gold. Right? We know they love silver. We know they imported 128 million ounces of silver during the first 3 months of this year. Okay. Right. So could it be a wealthy Indian? Could it be a wealthy Chinese person? Could it be a wealthy Russian? Could it be, who knows, right? It's a different world right now than the 1970s when the Hunt brothers did it. It's a different world right now, even than 1997 when Warren Buffett did it. So we could be in for some big major surprises in this situation. The other thing I wanted to bring up about gold and silver, as well as we're talking about it on a worldwide basis, guys, it is a worldwide market. I was talking with Keith Weiner, right? The founder and CEO of Monetary Metals. I'll have an interview coming out with him later this week. Actually, I need to warn you, you're warned, basement dwellers. Rick Rule, yes, that Rick Rule was a guest here in the basement later this morning. I'll have an interview coming out that I did with Rick Rule. That guy, you can learn so much. Please watch that video. Watch it from beginning to end and listen, because he peppers in little bits of wisdom, right? Where those little light bulbs, those wheels start turning. If you're anything like me, you get a little bit older, the wheels don't turn as much. So listen and watch that. But Keith Weiner, back to him, right? The guy that started Monetary Metals. He told me something that blew me away that I'd never thought about. We were talking about how now, yes, the gold and silver markets are worldwide markets. They are worldwide, universal. They're the most universal. They're like water. They're like oil. They're God's money. They are the universal forms of money everywhere in the world. So therefore, right, they're the purest market in the world. That's what I say. They are affected more purely by market forces than anything else. Sure, the dollar from a paper unicorn fart dust make-believe money perspective kind of dominates the world, but it's not used everywhere in the world. I don't think it's real popular in Russia. I don't know that it's even as popular now in China per se. It's losing, right? The dollar is popular, but it's nothing compared to gold and silver, right? And think about this. Mr. Weiner said this to me, and it was something I'd never thought of. He said, on top of that, you've got more market participants with gold and silver. Yeah, you're a market participant. Think about it. You own physical silver. Maybe you own some physical gold. I own some physical silver, right? Right? We make a decision every day. Are we going to hold it? Are we going to buy more? Are we going to sell it? Even that farmer in India that maybe has 3 ounces of silver, he or she, they are the gold and silver market is spread out so much throughout the entire world. Think about that. I mean, that's something that I don't think I never thought of. Does that make sense to you? Right? I mean, there's no other market, right? No other, whether you're talking about euros or dollars or corn or wheat or oil, even, I would say, per se, because how many people do you know? I'll be honest with you, right? I don't keep a lot of silver here at my house. I keep it off site in a vault stored, but I sure don't keep oil. Do you keep oil stored at your house? I guess I have some gasoline stored in our cars, but we're going to consume that, right? Nobody stores up barrels of oil in their basement or their backyard. Well, very few people do, right? But think about all the people around the world that store little bitty bits and pieces, all the billions of people that have little bits and those are all market participants in gold and silver, right? Not everybody has Bitcoin. I'd be curious. Thank you, Daniel, 666. Powell is scratching to come out. I'll bring out Powell in 1 second. Here's our friend Daniel. Thank you for being here early this morning. Special early edition. Mr. Weiner, thank you for enlightening. I had never thought about that. Just how big and diversified and saturated the world is with gold and silver. There's no other market that compares, guys. Like I said, oil's a bigger market from a dollar, but how many people do you know that have barrels of oil stored up in their garage or their basement? I'm just being honest with you. I don't have any oil stored up here in the basement. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. All right. It's going to be interesting. A big player. And it doesn't have to be from the United States of America, because you know what? Yeah, we still dominate the world. We're exceptional. Yeah, great. But we don't dominate as much as we used to. And countries like China and India are coming up, and we could see easily a Chinese or Indian billionaire move in, just like the Hunt brothers did in the 70s, just like Warren Buffett did in 1997. I mean, we heard word from Vince Lanci and in the Oriental Ghost a couple of weeks ago about this big trader in China that took on JP Morgan and won. I think it was going on for like a year and a half, right? So is it actually going on right now? Right? I'm going to say it one more time because I can't stop. I'm so happy about this. And thank you again, Mr. Keith Weiner, for I'd never thought about this, just how big. We know it's universal. We know it's timeless. And by the way, from a timelessness perspective, he talked about they found gold now that was stored with a mummy somewhere from 6,500 years ago, right? Gold and silver, right? We know it's timeless. We know it's universal. But not only that, but it's just spread out. There's somebody tell me, is there anything else that's as spread out and universal as gold and silver? It makes it the world's smartest markets. It's going to be hard for us to believe, but even smarter than you and me combined. That's what gold and silver are. Okay. All right. We hit on that. Big news tomorrow will be the Fed. Yeah, I'll get them out for you, Daniel. I can be bought for $6.66. Tomorrow, guys, we'll be hearing from this character, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, right? It will be big, scary, market moving news. Are you ready? It's Fed Day. Oh, most likely, what's going to happen is nothing. Okay. And they're supposed to be setting the stage for a September rate cut. What would be really great for the gold and silver price would be if they are more dovish, if they issue language that is more indicative that they're getting worried about the economy, that they're getting worried about the jobs numbers. And we're going to talk about the jobs numbers because as soon as Wednesday's over, we got Friday, which is another huge news day. But nonetheless, that would be good if they by chance were to cut rates, which I don't think they will. But I think there's a chance, a very small chance that they cut rates tomorrow, but I don't think they will. That would be awesome for going. What would be bad? You want to get scared? I'm going to warn you. Warning. Because we never know what could happen. What could be bad would be, well, if the Fed raised rates tomorrow, which I think there's like a 0% chance of that happening, but anything can happen. But what would be bad that could happen would be if the Fed comes out with more hawkish more, if they say things like, we're really still concerned about inflation and we're not sure, we may have to be higher for longer to fight inflation and blah, blah, blah. That would be really bad. Warning, warning, warning for the gold and silver price. So we'll see how that one plays out, right? Most likely, guys, what you can expect is kind of a nothing burger, but we could have a big move tomorrow in both the gold and the silver price. Everybody take a little break with me. I want to put up, I said thanks to channel sponsor Pinbex. Thank you, channel sponsor First Mining Gold, Canadian gold developer with 2 multi-million-ounce development stage projects in Canada. I have a hard time saying that. Fortuna Mining, a producer. They're mining gold and silver right now, 2 regions, Latin America and West Africa. Let's all have a quick sip of coffee, and then we'll talk about the big news on Friday and what we can expect to get from that and what we can expect to happen. You want to know what's going to happen with the gold and silver price by the end of the week? I'll give you my prediction. Hold on one second. Okay, so tomorrow, Gomer Pyle talks. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Sergeant Carter from the Federal Reserve is going to come out and spew a bunch. And remember this about the Federal Reserve. It's all a bunch of BS. It's all a bunch of short-term noise, guys. I know you're tired of hearing me say it. Susie calls me a repeater, Ron, but I got to repeat it. The underlying factor to remember is, oh, yeah, congratulations. Hey, wait, we got to celebrate one more time, basement dwellers. Hold on here. We're going to go on a little trip around the internet. We'll check one more time. Hey, all right. Gold went up since last time we checked. Thank you, Pinbags. We need to celebrate one more time because it wouldn't be a trip to the basement without a quick look at the U.S. debt clock. Well, what do you know, guys? The U.S. national debt is now $35 trillion, $5 billion. Wow, that is really awesome. There's been a lot of controversy lately, or uproar. See if I can find it regarding, this right here. This is the U.S. debt clock. This is precious metal silver. Okay, see silver. And then over here, precious metal reserves. A couple of people discovered this and like, oh my gosh, there's 18 billion ounces of silver in reserve. And and we're saying that could be the above ground amount and blah, blah, blah. Nobody really knows how much silver there is above ground. This number, just for clarity, represents the amount of reserves in the ground that the mining companies have throughout the world in the ground that could be economically mined at the current silver price. 18 billion. That's not a lot, okay? That's not a big number. Remember, all 18 billion of those ounces are buried deep, deep, deep in the earth. Silver mining is very, very difficult, okay? And I would even go on a limb and say that even at this current price of $28 per ounce for silver, a lot of that silver isn't going to see the light of day until we get a silver price north of $50 per ounce. So a lot of people were emailing me, asking me about this. That's 18 billion ounces of silver. But again, that's what's represented by the big worldwide mining companies. That's not silver sitting in vaults at JP Morgan or anything like that, or in your basement or my vault or basement or anything. That's silver that could be buried, 400, 500, 600, 100, 200 meters underground. And I talked to Keith Neumeyer. I talked to Jorge Ganoza. I talked to the CEOs in the silver mining industry. It's no small feat to get even 1 billion ounces of that out of the ground. And again, guys, from a big picture perspective, that is not that big of a number. Okay. All right. The next big piece of news, Friday, we're going to get the jobs number that will move the market as well. I'm thinking we're going to get a bad jobs number on Friday. I don't know. It'll, that number from the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, that everybody on Wall Street laughs about. By the way, I've heard that from all my contacts. Like they realize those numbers are so crooked, so cooked. Oh, guess what? You can expect when they put out the July jobs number as well. You can expect they'll go back to June and May and revise the previous numbers they released. They'll revise those down. But I think, look, major events tomorrow, Jerome Powell, Friday, the jobs numbers. I think we're going to end the week roughly where we are right now in the precious metals. I hope I'm right because, guys, $2,400 range gold and $28 range silver for the beginning of August will be a very, very good place for us to build a base from which in September and October, we could see a massive, massive rally in the metals prices. Hey, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. I want to say thank you to Brian. He's a guy who sends me great material on a regular basis. I don't think I used any of it today in this live stream, but I have been, and I've been meaning to say thank you. Welder guy sent me some great stuff lately. I want to say thank you for being here. It's a big deal. Please give this a thumbs up. Okay, share it with your friends if you will. We're really trying to grow the channel, and giving us a thumbs up, giving us a subscribe really helps. And Susie and I, we love what we're doing. We're working very hard, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Yes, you. There's one you. You're a big deal. Have a good day. Okay, remember, I'm going to be on a different schedule here, dealing with some family events, but I'm not going away. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great